Exactly halfway through the NFL's biggest season ever, 272 games, 136 are done. We're going to look at our surprises and disappointments so far. A double draft. So let's start with the surprises. Myles, you're up.
My first surprise is that the Arizona Cardinals are legitimately good. I mean, before the season, would have put Cliff Kingsbury on the top of my coaches that should be on the hot seat list. And now, it couldn't be more cool, right? I mean, the fact that they went up to the Bay Area and beat the brakes off the San Francisco 49ers last week with Colt McCoy at quarterback and without DeAndre Hopkins. They no longer have J.J. Watt anymore for this season either. He's done for the year. I mean, I could not be more impressed with what the Cardinals have done. They haven't really played a clunker game. And I would say that even with that game that they lost to the Green Bay Packers, I mean, they've been in every single game. They really have an argument that they should have won every single game. So they look like the best team in football right now, and that is a pretty big surprise to me.
Yeah, look, I agree with you, and I expected them to underachieve again this year in the toughest division in football, at least going into the season. The AFC North has emerged as the best division top to bottom in football right now, and in the NFC West, it's because of a couple of the teams who have underachieved this year and are under 500. My first pick, and this is recency bias talking, but I think the first half of the season was capped with a performance by Justin Fields that makes him the best of the 5 rookie quarterbacks so far. And it will be interesting to see. It will be interesting to see if the Bears finish around 6-11, and if the Patriots make the playoffs. Who's the rookie of the year offensively between Mac Jones and Justin Fields? Because if Fields keeps playing the way he did the other night, the numbers may not be off the charts, but he's looking pretty damn good. And he reminded me a lot of the guy that we saw Ohio State against Clemson in the college football semifinal that first got me thinking he could be as high as the second quarterback taken in the draft based on how he played that night. So, Bears fans, you're losing, and I know you're not happy about that, but you got to be happy with what you have in Justin Fields. And yeah, it would be nice if he would have been the guy from day one of the offseason program, training camp, preseason. Maybe he'd be farther along, but you got to be happy with where he is. And I think right now, Myles, he's the best of the 5.
I think that's interesting, Mike. I mean, I don't know if he's better than Mac Jones by my count quite yet. I mean, I thought that some of the things he did in the first half were a little bit more suspect. But when you do bring the Bears back like that, and frankly, I mean, it was a game that they could have won, maybe should have won, if the Bears defense gets a stop there at the end. So, I mean, if I'm a Chicago fan, then I would probably feel pretty good about the fact that it looks like you've got a franchise quarterback going forward. But speaking of that game against the Steelers, I mean, that'd be my second surprise, honestly, is that the Steelers are 5-3 right now. And frankly, I mean, I don't know if we really should be surprised given the fact that Mike Tomlin has been there, since the Bush administration, and they've never had a season below 500. But Ben Roethlisberger, as old as he is, and frankly as limited as he can be right now as a quarterback in his late 30s, I just didn't necessarily think that they would be able to win games like they've been able to win games. And, I know that they've got a good defense. I know they've got a defensive player of the year candidate in TJ Watt, but I'm still impressed by the way that they have been able to get to 2 games over 500 at basically the midway point of the season.
I hadn't thought of that Tomlin's been there since the Bush administration, and then it occurred to me Tom Brady was drafted during the Clinton administration. Yeah. So I always love it when we can put it in those terms. For the longest time, the Arizona Cardinals had not won a postseason game since the Truman administration. So that changed.
And what city were they in then?
Probably Chicago, but that changed in
Chicago,
2000,
right? Yeah.
2008. The year they made the playoffs at 9-7, everybody said how bad they are, and they rattled off 3 straight postseason wins. All right, next one for me is the Titans. Lost week 1 to the Cardinals, won a couple of games, lost to the Jets 2-2. They're not very good. They've reeled off 5 straight wins. They've run 4 in a row as the underdog, and they got that win to cap their first half of the season over a Rams team that I thought was going to beat them easily. I thought they were going to cover the spread easily. The defense has been great. The offense good enough. We didn't really see the offense get tested because the defense was so good and the offense didn't have to do much. But I'm very impressed with what the Titans are doing. I know that they still have this vibe of they're kind of boring. They're kind of not relevant. I don't know why that is, but it just is. but not very boring and extremely relevant so far this year, Myles.
I am curious to see how that offense continues to evolve without Derrick Henry, because I had somebody in my Twitter mentions after I wrote that, for at least one night, Derrick Henry, no problem. And they got really mad at me because I was disrespecting the Titans. And I don't really understand why that is when, he was basically like 80 to 85% of what they were doing revolved around Derrick Henry. So I don't know. I guess we'll still see. But yeah, I mean, the Titans have been quite good. And frankly, they're better than I thought that they would be after losing Arthur Smith as their offensive coordinator, which leads me to my third surprise, which is that Atlanta is 4-4, and they're at 500 right now after 8 games. I didn't see that coming. Frankly, I thought Atlanta was going to be like my favorite Canadian jazz fusion band, bad, bad, not good. And they still could be bad, bad, not good. We don't know. But and they've had kind of a weak schedule, but I just feel like the fact that they are 4-4 right now says something about what Arthur Smith is building down there, especially given how they went to New Orleans and beat the Saints after blowing that lead there in the fourth quarter in the Superdome. For them to still be able to stay resolute, for Matt Ryan to hit Cordell Patterson down that right sideline, and then Koo makes the kick, man. Like, they're maybe building a little bit something a little bit quicker than I thought they would in Atlanta.
Yeah, and they're in the thick of things right now, the 7th seed, and there's a scramble, a mad dash for that 7th seed. The 6th seed could be in play as well, especially now that the Saints have lost to the Falcons. Last one for me, the Cowboys. They have underachieved so often, and I know they lost to the Broncos. I think that's a fluke. I think we're going to see the Cowboys get back on the horse. I think that the coaches did not have them ready to go. They believed the press clippings. They thought they were just going to easily steamroll the Broncos, and the Broncos just caught them at a perfect time. I think the Cowboys are going to be fine. They're clearly going to win the division. The question is, will they be good enough to compete with the best teams in the conference when January rolls around? But I didn't even think they'd be good enough to win the division. I thought Washington would take the next step. Washington has gone down the crapper, frankly, and the Cowboys have finally lived up to the hype that that Jerry Jones every single year continues to throw upon that team, even though it seems like far more often than not they fail to live up to those expectations, Myles.
Well, I have one question after all the things you just said there, Mike. As somebody representing the 30 and under demographic, what are press clippings?
Exactly. Yeah. Look it up. Google it. Google it.
I heard you and Shereen talking about that the other day. I actually do know what press clippings are.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.